Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to
What's up? What's going on? What's good? This is the first podcast of 2021 here, and we are live through Blog Talk Radio and through YouTube. Number to dial in 347-237-5539, 347-237-5539. This is the Boxing Source Radio Show. I am your host, Shane Spell, the lead boxing analyst for the Cold Hard Truth on sports and the leader of the Boxing Source on social media. You could catch boxing articles and more through theboxingsource.net, and we are on social media through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. All right. I've got a few things here that we're going to be talking about, including, led by the main event that was over in Dallas, man. You have the what apparently is the interim WBC lightweight championship fight between Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell, with Ryan Garcia coming in there with an unbeaten record. Luke Campbell there with the losses, coming up short against the likes of Jorge Linares, against Vasily Lomachenko, and an early, loss against Savon Mendy that he ended up, getting a win over. And when he did get that win, that put him in position to, fight for the world title once again. But, after that, we, just basically fell short to Vasily Lomachenko. So after that fight, what happened there, the whole thing with this shut down. So his first fight back is against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia did have his first round knockout win last year over Francisco Fonseca. And he was, put in a position to potentially fight Jorge Linares in July of last year. Jorge Linares was involved in the co-feature bout to Garcia versus Fonseca on February 14th. Yeah, I think it was February 14th of last year. So with that first round KO victory, Ryan Garcia was picking up some momentum and some steam. And then, like I said, you had the whole thing with the shutdown. And, after that, we're trying to see about getting fights back on the scene. So looked like they were working on Garcia fighting Jorge Linares, but that ended up falling through. And it looked like Garcia and Golden Boy were going through some stuff again. We kind of saw that last year with Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy. But he didn't get the Linares fight. Linares was supposed to fight Javier Fortuna, and Linares ended up being sidelined due to COVID. So Fortuna ended up having another fight. And so, with that being said, you had the thing with Garcia, and then they announced that Garcia was fighting Luke Campbell. And it was supposed to be December 5th. But then Luke Campbell got hit with COVID. But they were able to reschedule the bout for, January 2nd. So it was the first major boxing event there in, 2021. And we saw, this bout here with Ryan Garcia getting his first test against the world title challenger in Luke Campbell. And, leading into the fight, man, there were a few people that felt like this could have been a little bit more than Ryan Garcia could shoot. With Luke Campbell having the experience that he had, of course, the amateur pedigree there, and then, having the professional fights that he's had. So a lot of eyes were seeing if Ryan Garcia could pass this proverbial test to move ahead there in the lightweight division. Now, we had a good start there in those first couple of rounds and everything there. Shout out to, Boxing Logics United in the building. Peace and pugilism to you. We just getting it in here just to talk about that Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell fighting. Those first couple of rounds, you had Ryan Garcia, looking for opportunities, open spots there on Luke Campbell. And he was just trying to, connect with a lot of power shots there. And the thing is he was able to do that, but also did get hit with a few jabs in those first couple of rounds. So you did see a few openings there by Ryan Garcia. Then you had the thing that happened in the third round where I felt like, Luke Campbell set up Ryan Garcia perfectly. He was jabbing. Of course, he was trying to do his thing with the jab. He wasn't very active with the jab in the first couple of rounds. But then he was jabbing, and then he threw the right jab to the body, which brought down the guard of Ryan Garcia, and then came up with the left hand and bah, and crack Ryan Garcia a good one to put him down on the canvas there. And but Ryan Garcia was able to get up, and with him getting up, he just seemed like he was caught with a good one. He was not really out of it. Like his legs didn't seem out of it. Just seemed like he had to clear his head a little bit. And once he was able to do that, he went back to, what he wanted to do, try to set up, Luke Campbell and throw a good amount of power shots there. I didn't really see like anything that I was looking for up until the end of the fight, but we'll go into that later. Then in the fifth round, Ryan Garcia was able to hurt Luke Campbell there near the end of the fifth round with a good little flurry. And then he continued on that momentum in the sixth round, trying to, walk forward, throw power shots, try to overwhelm Luke Campbell. And then in the seventh round, he kind of like set him up with a great shot with the left hand. Looked like he was going to lunge in with like a left hook, like a Joe Frazier, but ended up going low to the body, and that put Luke Campbell down for the count there. So Ryan Garcia was able to get the win there with that seventh round knockout victory. Wanted to bring in from the 205 area code in here, man. This should be Mr. Mike Grady. What's going on, man?
Happy everyday go.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, and all that type of stuff there that's going on. What's up?
Similar. I heard your, not to fight. Yeah, I think, you hit it on the head. I'll just add a few points. And, to your point, I'll just add a couple points to your point. So, Ryan Garcia, first round, jabbed a little bit, but, as the rounds went on, the jab was pretty much non-existent. And as you said, seemed to want to use power shots to kind of control the fight. Luke Campbell saw that, another thing with Ryan Garcia don't got a lot of head movement.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even got a lot of like waist movement, so he like, when he ain't throwing his punches, which are fast, He's straight up and down.
Yeah.
Not straight up and down like how European fighters are, but he's like still he don't move his head, he don't move. At least I didn't see him move much at the weight.
Right.
So with that being said, a lot of times what he was trying to do was use his arms to like block punches. And so he would either block punches with a high guard or block punches by knocking Luke Campbell's arm down. And so exactly like you said, Campbell jabbed to the stomach, and Ryan Garcia thought that he was going to come up. Well, let me different knockout, but he jabbed to the stomach, and then the way that he was going, what's his name tried to stick his arm out and stop his arm from getting around him, and so you trying to block a shot that you don't know exactly where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It won't work every time. So he got around those arms. He literally went around his arm and just hit him clean. And so as you said, he pretty much got up and handled the recovery from that shot very well. His legs didn't look like they were too out of it. And then I feel like he probably started winning the round toward the end.
Yeah.
Off the sake of getting the knockdown, I mean, you just kind of had to give what's the name, the 2-point round. But I heard somebody say that one of the judges gave him a 10-9 round.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't enough winning for him to get a point back. Like, it should have definitely been a 10-8, but he definitely won that round. He definitely started improving toward the end of that round. And somewhere in there, he threw a bunch of shots. He did like the Anthony Joshua, where he felt like he had Luke Campbell hurt, and then he just went, balls to the wall and tried to like really hurt him, throw a bunch of shots. Did that happen before he got caught with his big shot? Did he go all out, and then after that, that's when he got caught with that shot and got knocked down?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think he did that afterwards, where like I said, like at the tail end of the 5th round, where he looked like he did have Luke Campbell hurt, and then he tried to go all out then to try to knock him down or score a knockout then. But then the end of the round came, so.
Yeah. And so with Ryan Garcia, exactly like you said, the way he set up his shot, he went to the body, but he never did the going to the body in like that 1 or 2 shot combo. So, and his, I don't quote me on this because I wasn't looking for it, but I felt like his normal routine was to jab and then, go follow it up with the hook to the head. But then that particular time, he jabbed and then he, looked like he, like you said, was going up to the head. And Luke Campbell was used to that same, string of punches. And so he blocked the hot shot. And then what's his name went low with the low hook, or upcut or whatever. And, he hit him, and, it was just like, you could tell there was a lot of power behind the shot.
Mm-hmm.
He hit him with a power shot on the liver that he wasn't prepared for, and it was this murder she wrote. I wish, this to me, though, said something about Keith Thurman. We can talk all we want to about Keith Thurman, whether we think he's good or this or that or that or this. But one thing you got to say about Keith Thurman, when Thurman is going through the worst pain that he can feel in the boxing ring, he fights through it and pushes through and overcomes that pain. It's always mind over matter for him. He tends to always overcome because we see body shots incapacitate people to where, you saw Luke Campbell, do I want to get up? Do I want to get up? Do I want to get up? He's thinking it. Do I want to get up? Do I want to get up? And finally, when he said he wanted to get up, it was too late. Finally, he was like, yes, I need to get up. It was already too late. It was like a count of 9 at that point. And so, he tried to get up at 9. And by that time, it was like 9, 10, you out. So Keith Thurman, man, is, a tough guy. Not to say he won't ever get knocked out, but in terms of his will, that speaks to this man's ironclad will, though.
Mm.
And other people who fight through that type of body pain like him.
Well, I mean, Thurman has like, taken a couple of shots there to the body, a few times, and like he's been able to like, either shrug it off or, not necessarily be knocked down from those because the knockdown against, Manny Pacquiao happened because he basically got caught, backing up and getting hit up top. So, at least he, was able to get through that and be involved in a close fight against Manny Pacquiao. But
Yeah.
but the thing with Luke, I think with like you said with Ryan Garcia, he kind of like looks like he's straightforward in a lot of the things that he does. And, when you talk about him, not necessarily moving his head or, not moving his body very well, I mean, that kind of goes into has he really completely grasped everything from being in the camp of Eddie Reynoso? Because, not only is, Eddie Reynoso his head trainer, but, Ryan Garcia is supposed to be, the understudy for Canelo Alvarez. And there are a few things that Canelo Alvarez tries to teach him, a few tricks there, as far as like working off of your opponent, being a better counter puncher, slipping punches or trying to dodge punches. And he didn't necessarily do that in this fight, especially early. And I think that, after the knockdown, Eddie Reynoso kind of like pointed that out to him, like that was something that he should have been able to see coming, as far as like try to, have his right hand up to kind of like, block that left hand from Luke Campbell to prevent himself from being knocked down there. But I think, with Ryan Garcia, he has a few things to kind of like work on, because I really feel like he could get caught with some good shots from these other lightweights that are out there. I mean, with him having the position that he has right now, he's kind of petitioning to fight the likes of a Devin Haney, or, as he called out, Gervonta Tank Davis. And I'm going to hold my thoughts on that until later on in this podcast. But go ahead on Ryan Garcia.
In terms of what I've seen from him, he don't shoot the jab. He's straight up and down. Don't move his head. Don't use waist movement to he don't use foot movement, waist movement, or head movement as defense. He doesn't jab, and all he really throws is big power shots. I don't think it's gonna go well for him. I'm not saying Devin Haney, because I only watched 2 fights of Devin Haney, and I wouldn't say necessarily impressed per se, but Gervonta Davis is, I done watched quite a few covered fights with you. They need to. I hear you what they talking about. Like, I hear you talking and it sounds good, but let's be real here. Let's be real. It's certain levels for a reason. And, with these deficiencies that I see in him, don't jab, not use foot movement and defense. Like he used. Okay, let me revamp that. He did use foot movement early. Like he tried to get away from a couple shots by taking 2 or 3 steps back. So let's take away the foot movement. He tried to use foot movement, but no head movement, no waist movement at defense. All he do is just lift his arms up and then block the shot, and that he doesn't do that like great. Gervonta Davis, man, we hit him, and Gervonta Davis hitting guys inside ain't really fair from what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing about that particular fight. I mean, I've said that. If Ryan Garcia does step in the ring against like a Tank Davis, that he's gonna have some serious issues there against likes of Tank Davis. But the thing about it is that particular fight, I feel like it might be the right time to make that fight. Especially if on Tank's side, that is going to be if he's going to be involved in another pay-per-view event. You know, he had his pay-per-view against Leo Santa Cruz, and if we kind of like follow the formulas, this so-called formula with pay-per-views. In a lot of cases, the most successful pay-per-views, or whether it's through pay-per-view buys or through ticket sales, is when you have someone that is from one side of the spectrum going up against someone that's in the opposite side. So I really don't feel like they should wait out a fight of this magnitude because one, the thing with Ryan Garcia is that he has momentum now, but I don't feel like with his frame that he's going to stay at 135 pounds that much longer. He has a frame like him, along with Devin Haney, has the frame to go up to as high as 147 pounds within the next 2 or 3 years. So you're not going to get that with someone like a Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is 5'5.5". So him being that lightweight, that's basically as good as it's going to get for him to operate at his peak ability. So I'd rather have that fight happen now than later down the line. You know what I mean? So why not just go ahead and have that fight happen instead of just like waiting it out and having Gervonta Davis not figuring out who his next opponent is going to be in the lightweight division, or because I don't really see him trying to still be at super featherweight. There's really not that many options there at super featherweight for Tank to fight, especially if you're going to try to keep him on pay-per-view like that. Like, you're not going to do that. So why not just keep him there at lightweight, have those potential opponents out there, the Ryan Garcias out there, the Vasyl Lomachenko's, or somebody like that. Like, that's his like best option right there.
Yeah, let me ask you this.
Hmm?
Do you think that strategically should they put Ryan Garcia in the ring? Who do you think stands to gain more from being in the ring in terms of not just even from a monetary stance and then like that, from a strategic exit and knows where you at in your career, like the likelihood of actually winning this fight? Who do you think stands a chance to win more at this exact point in their career with the level of skill and competition and preparedness for this fight? Who do you think stands to win to win more in this fight with their level of preparedness?
Between those two?
Yeah.
Oh, Tank should take advantage of this ASAP.
Hands down. So if Golden Boy is dumb enough to put him in the ring with a guy who on paper seemed to have all the damn chips in his favor, that's not a good look. Like that, like I get it, you like as a fan, yeah, put the fight together.
Right.
But don't, like, as a Golden Boy, as his matchmaker, do not put that boy in the ring with Gervonta Davis. Not now.
Right.
Maybe later. Maybe you say Gervonta, he had a catch weight of 138 or something. I don't know, whatever. 135. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But don't put that boy in the ring with this guy. Like, you know your boy division. Reynoso, you know your boy. You know what's his Achilles heel. Do not put that boy in the ring with Gervonta Davis. Like, don't put him in the ring with Gervonta Davis. Like, he has a lot of buzz around him. Like, he can lose and still be fine. We all know that. He can have the Adrian Broner appeal just because of his like Adrian Broner is fine because he do like stuff to like stay in the limelight, but him, he's likable, so people still are gonna like him. But in terms of strategy,
right,
don't put him in the ring. unless you're okay with him losing and still, like hopefully not getting hurt too bad, losing and then, beating the next or fighting the next person.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel you in that sense because I think even with that particular fight, that Ryan Garcia could afford to lose that fight and still be, marketable to an extent. But to your point, I don't think that Golden Boy and Robert Diaz and Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Reynoso will necessarily put Ryan Garcia in the ring against Gervonta Davis next. They're not going to do that. Also, I don't feel like they're going to put Ryan Garcia in the ring against Devin Haney next. Like, I don't see it. But because of that, in one way or another, Ryan Garcia does hold some type of leeway or leverage in the lightweight division because he has the marketability to bring people to watch his fights and to watch him to see him win. While, Gervonta Davis doesn't completely have that, even though, we saw what happened with him over in Atlanta. He doesn't completely have that. And they do. Yeah, they do support him. They do support him to a certain level, but the way that they kind of like market him is not like everybody is what I would say like gravitating towards him to be a fan of his. See what I mean? And same case goes with Devin Haney, actually to a bigger extent because he really doesn't have that type of following like that. And
what's the name like a band type person? He's like not a YouTube, but an Instagram boy band.
Yeah.
Talk to him off of stuff that has nothing to do with boxing type person.
Right. Like he has that teeny bop, the teeny bop following or whatnot, Teeny bop or whatever they call that thing.
Oh wow.
But Ryan Garcia, like, he would be the best, like, I wouldn't necessarily say he's like a B-side because in the thing with Devin Haney, could you really say that he's a B-side to Devin Haney? Probably not.
Because they need an A-side to everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, look, man. I mean, it's Ryan Garcia. He has a great following. I mean, look at the people that came to the fights. And I really feel like because with Devin Haney, like Eddie Hearn said, like he expects the WBC to like go forward to enforce like that mandatory challenge with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Now, the thing with Garcia is he's the interim WBC champion right now for some dumb reason. And the WBC still has a mandatory challenger. And that guy is Javier Fortuna, and he basically called out Devin Haney on Instagram, saying that he kind of called him a email champion, like Teofimo Lopez did. Actually, he called him a hotmail champion.
Oh wow.
I was like, I couldn't believe it, man. He said, "Campeón de Hotmail," because the thing with Javier Fortuna is he's been the mandatory challenger since 2019. So the thing is, he was waiting on his shot to fight Devin Haney after Devin Haney was, awarded the WBC lightweight title. So, and like I said last year, Haney went ahead and fought Yuriorkis Gamboa. So I feel like the next fight for Devin Haney is going to end up being Fortuna. It's going to be Javier Fortuna. Yep.
Fortuna is the one who fought
Robert Easter.
Robert Easter. Did he also fight Lomachenko Fortuna?
Man, that must have been like a while if that was the case. Nah, he lost to Jason Sosa.
Fortuna is the Puerto Rican guy who got like a little tail or something on the back, and he fights sort of sleekish.
He's from the DR, and he had like his fight. What was that? November 21st. At one point. Nah, he didn't. Nope.
But he fights sort of sleekish, right? He fights sleekish, right?
Yeah, pretty much like slickish, but also has like a tough inside, inside game.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be a good fight for Fortuna is a game, and he ain't no walkthrough. Fortuna got knocked out by Tank.
Nah, he got stopped by Jason Sosa. Fortuna didn't fight Tank.
What's the guy named Tank knocked out?
That was the guy that now he's the one that fought Tank and Lomachenko.
What's his name?
Pedraza.
You definitely think about Pedraza is a good fight for him now. Like Pedraza ain't that's not a guaranteed win,
Yeah, and I mean he had that fight. He had a good performance against Javier Molina last year too. So yeah, that would be a real good that would be a good opportunity, but I don't think Pedraza is going to be there at lightweight though. He's kind of campaigning at super lightweight now. So, but yeah, Fortuna would be the best bet for Devin Haney, and for Ryan Garcia. Like if they gotta see if Linares is still available and still could have that fight with Ryan Garcia, because like he's someone that is a real very experienced, very slick fighter, very smart. Did fight Vasilomachenko, knocked down Vasilomachenko at one point before losing by a 10th round TKO. So he'll be another good measuring stick for Ryan Garcia to see where he is in the lightweight division. Because I just don't see like a Devin Haney getting that fight next.
Yeah. Them guys could potentially lose that fight. I mean, they could knock him out, obviously, but I'm just saying, this guy could outbox him.
Right.
And win the fight against probably both of them guys. I don't know. I mean, I need to see more of Devin Haney, because that performance that I saw last time wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't very impressive. On that whole thing.
Yeah. But Tank to be knocking these guys out. I mean, even though he has deficiencies too now. I mean, him just walking in with the high guard and stuff ain't gonna beat everybody. That's not gonna win everything. You know what I'm saying? He gotta show more than that. So maybe, I don't know. I just feel like he just can't rely on that always. At some point, it's not gonna be enough. Like he's gonna have to show something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I just saw like for Ryan Garcia, I just saw too many openings there that if Luke Campbell was more aggressive, he would have been able to take advantage of those things. Like
exactly.
And the thing is like even with that knockdown, like he kind of set up Garcia with that punch to the body first. But like if you know that, how come you don't set more traps against him? Because if you're supposed to be the one that has the the more experience, then why not use that against him? do some tricks on him. Like, if you have to be rough against him, or just try to fake him out, give him feints. Because like you said, I mean, it looked like Ryan Garcia was very straightforward in a good amount of that fight. So, they kind of like left them open to counter shots. They left them open to jabs. Like he was getting hit with some, serious jabs there when Luke Campbell was, throwing a jab. But I don't know, man. I kind of, felt like, Ryan Garcia was going to get the win, and I felt like he was going to get the knockout. And, I talk with a lot of good number of fight fans from the UK. And, of course, going into that bout, they're like, oh, yeah, Campbell's going to do this, and he's going to school him and everything like that. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, like, Ryan Garcia is going to knock Luke Campbell out. And the couple of days leading into the bout, and even when they were going through the pre-fight instructions with the referee, right? I'm looking at Luke Campbell, and I'm like, he just didn't look like he was going in there like to, steal something from Demetrius Andrade a couple weeks ago. He didn't look like he was going in there to really win or really do something to Ryan Garcia. It just didn't seem like he had that type of confidence. He was saying it, but he surely didn't look it. Like, it was a completely different contrast to like when a boy Kubrat Pulev was coming into that fight with Anthony Joshua, like, champion, me, I win, champion, I didn't see that from Luke Campbell, man.
So you didn't see him do it?
I didn't see him like outwardly give out the confidence like he was going to go into this fight like he was going to win it.
Yep.
And it just looked like he was looking timid a lot. And that like if you're gonna get in there and you're gonna like be there to get a check, I mean that's one thing, but like he just felt like he was real timid going into that fight, and maybe it kind of showed there a little bit in this fight, because once you score that knockdown, like, you mean to tell me that you couldn't really do something to try to set it up again, or have Ryan Garcia in some serious trouble? Like, after that knockdown, did you feel like Ryan Garcia like was put in serious trouble after that?
Yeah. Because it was, like you said, it was definitely there. I mean, the way he set it up the first time, I'm sure he couldn't do that again, but he definitely touched him after that. So I see.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm like, even and the thing with Luke Campbell was, it's like, that you've had these opportunities. You could have, been a world champion, but you fell short on a couple of occasions. So here's your shot to kind of put yourself in position to fight for a world title once again. So what's on the line there, and you kind of like. I just didn't feel like he gave the effort that you probably would have expected from someone of his caliber to give towards Ryan Garcia after like the fourth and the fifth round. Like, after the fifth round, I just felt like, okay, it's getting closer to where Ryan Garcia is going to overwhelm Luke Campbell. And then he basically got him with the same body shot that Canelo Alvarez hit Liam Smith with, and basically almost folded him up with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like it looked awfully convenient.
Yeah, like it just looked like the punch that Canelo Alvarez gave to Liam Smith to put Liam Smith down to the canvas, and Liam Smith couldn't get up from that. And like you're saying, like Luke Campbell just was down there on the canvas, and He just looking. He was like, "Should I get up? Should I get up?" And he just didn't get up. You know, like he didn't want to take any more punishment, man. Yeah, oh yeah. He basically got up in a count of 9 or whatever it is, and it's like, yeah, I don't feel like I would have taken much punishment or whatever it is. That's what it looked like to me.
Oh yeah. I think I've had enough.
Right.
But
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, it's real. That's real. Sometimes you know when you had enough.
Yep. And he basically had that going down, man. So yeah, like I was saying, Ryan Garcia there's, still unbeaten, registers his 18th KO victory there, and just moves ahead. He should be in position to, either fight for a world title, which I doubt is going to happen next, or like I said, be going up against the likes of Jorge Linares there before fighting for a world title, which I think should happen. Like do you put Ryan Garcia like below the? We already said that Tank pretty much washes him, but do you put Ryan Garcia there below the other young contenders there at lightweight or champions there? You got Lopez, you got Devin Haney. Who else is out there? He had that contender there, George Kambosos, who could end up fighting Teofimo Lopez, but I don't know, man. I ain't really impressed by that dude either. So what do you potentially have Ryan Garcia in the lightweight division?
It's hard to say with Devin Haney because again I haven't watched many of his fights, but definitely behind Gervonta Davis. That I know for sure. Give me some other fighters that I'm comparing him against them.
So you got the unified champ Teofimo Lopez. Vasyl Lomachenko, they say that he's going to stay at lightweight, and it looks like they're trying to push for the rematch between him and Teofimo Lopez. You have Jorge Linares, you have Javier Fortuna. Who else is out there? I'd say. Yeah, okay, so he's behind Lomachenko. So the other guys that are ranked at lightweight are former champ Lee Selby, George Kambosos, who ended up beating Lee Selby. They ain't gonna have him fight. they ain't gonna have him fight Masayoshi Nakatani. Even though that would be might be a good action fight right there, though. Huh? Verdejo against Nakatani? Yeah, Verdejo. Yeah. It would be a good action fight, but
I think he could potentially win because, as long as he can, his win ain't terrible, he could win the fight.
Yeah.
Because he would throw heavy shots and Nakatani would just take the shot, which at some point Nakatani's armor won't be able to accept that. Just very much like Provodnikov. Provodnikov could absorb it early, but Provodnikov still pisses blood. I already know he is.
Yeah.
And that's why we haven't seen him fight, because I'm sure that man is in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I know Provodnikov is in bad shape right now, because that's exactly what he did. He took them shots and never blocked, never protected himself.
None of that. Or the guy that was part of the the fight of the year last year, Ivan Baranchyk. He was just taking a lot of shots, man. And that's the thing you got to watch out with Nakatani. I mean, he does have length, but he leaves himself open a lot. So, while he could, connect with a few shots on Ryan Garcia, would he be able to take those power shots from Ryan Garcia? I don't know much about that. So, That's pretty much what's out there at lightweight right now.
That's the type of fight Garcia wants. Sit there and take all them big shots. Like, yes and no, because the thing about him, the wild card about him is his will. Like, obviously you can tell he harnessed his inner samurai, and he's Japanese, right?
Yeah.
He harnessed his inner samurai. I don't want to be it's too expensive. He harnessed his inner samurai, and like the man is a warrior, but shoot, as long as you can get rid of that wild card of him taking a bunch of shots and enduring and like doing exactly the same way that he did against the other guy, where he was like, I'm still here, the Undertaker, what he did the Undertaker pretty much. And was nothing else that the other fighter could do at that point. As long as that doesn't happen, and Ryan Garcia can just tee off of him in like 2-3 rounds straight, he'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be straight. He'll be straight.
4 or 5 rounds. He'll probably be like 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I think with what is it, Nakatani? If he gets knocked down, I think with Ryan Garcia, he'll probably try to do what's needed to, finish him or whatnot.
But speaking to that point, if Ryan Garcia knocks him down, the ref will come in and stop the fight to make sure that there won't be any confusion of what happened on the later fight. Like what ended up happening is he'll knock him down 2-3 times, and the ref will be like, all right, wave it off. We'll go to one be like, all right, we don't want no more fights. Like he got knocked down 3 times in the fight.
Yeah, that could happen too.
But there would still be a lot more fights left.
Yeah, that definitely could happen too in that case with the likes of Ryan Garcia, but I just don't feel like I don't see if Nakatani is completely there with Top Rank, but they probably want to see if they could have something in place for Nakatani later this year. I'm just not sure who it would be against, because I have no idea who else is out there at lightweight for Top Rank. I don't know if they'll probably have Nakatani against Richard Comey to have him, potentially get another world title shot or something like that. But who knows? There were like a couple of other fights that were on there. There were 2 brothers that had world titles at the same time, Felix and Rene Alvarado. And the co-feature bout had the thing with Rene Alvarado against Roger Gutierrez. And this was a bout that happened, earlier, man. They had fought back in 2017, and it was an 8-round fight. And Roger Gutierrez was there at 15-0-1, going against someone that was that already had 8 losses, and he ended up getting knocked out in the 7th round. And this is somebody in Rene Alvarado that lost to Yuriorkis Gamboa back in 2017, and he was able to build a winning streak in order to get a world title shot against Andrew Cancio. And he was able to beat Andrew Cancio in I guess it was proverbially called or subsequently called the loser leaves Golden Boy match or something like that. Because with Andrew Cancio losing, Golden Boy ended up dropping him, man. That's cold, son. But he was involved in in a bout here with Alvarado and Gutierrez. This was after his brother Felix Alvarado got a stoppage victory, and Gutierrez was the guy that wasn't the better boxer, but he had more power, and he knocked down Alvarado twice in round 3. And I thought that it was going to be trouble for Rene Alvarado after that, but Rene Alvarado got back into it. I pretty much felt like he was winning the fight, And then he goes into the last round and he leaves himself open, and he got caught with like a grazing shot to his chin while going forward, and he trips and goes down, with one, hand down on the canvas, and that ended up being the difference in the fight. Like, Alvarado lost by decision, man, with 3 scores of 113 to 112. So if there wasn't a knockdown in that round, either it would have been a draw or would have been a unanimous decision for Alvarado if he ended up winning that 12th round. So that's how close, that's how razor thin it was there. But Gutierrez wins the rematch. And I guess, I don't know if there's going to be a rematch clause or nothing like that. But maybe there is for, Alvarado, but that's like his 9th professional loss, man. Like, you're 32-9 and, you were able to be a world champ, but, still, like, that's kind of tough right there, man. And this is like, after, your brother gets a stoppage victory in the fight before that, man. Kind of like a tough break, but I mean, hey, it is what it is sometimes. It was 3.
The moving fighter, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much he won the fight. He just got knocked down 3 times. That's 6 points right there.
Yep. There's 6 points. I mean, that's that's tough, right? Well, that 3, that's 3. Like, with them 3 points he lost, he could have had 3 scores of 115, 113. So it looks like he probably, Alvarado won. Damn. Well, actually, he won more than 7 rounds. He probably won 8. You won 8. He won 8 rounds, but them knockdowns, man, that was it. Yeah.
But it made me think of the Barbados when he come on the show, his fight, because he got knocked out.
Oh, Kobe.
But the score still were he lost a close decision as well.
Yeah. Yeah, when Kobe Brady lost to, 2-something young Bayer, he had those 2 knockdowns, but he was fighting his way back, but just, couldn't get enough, rounds in there to get the win overall. But yeah, 2. Yeah, 2, and they're like, what was that? Pretty much like the first 4 rounds or something like that, first 4 or 5 rounds, and he just, built his way back, but it just wasn't enough. But here with the thing with Rene Alvarado, I think they might, end up having a rematch there for that super featherweight title, because I guess that WBA super champ is supposed to be Tank. And I don't see Tank having his next fight at super featherweight. Like, I don't see like him going down to 130 again for a fight. Like, there's nobody down there where he would want to, go down to 130 to fight at this point. So what may end up happening is he might, relinquish that belt, and either if they have a rematch here with this Alvarado guy and Gutierrez, that would be for the super title, or they'll just see if they can move forward and have unification with like Gutierrez and Jojo Diaz, who's an IBF champ. later this year, if Jojo Diaz ends up winning his bout. I think it's at the end of this month that he has his fight. There at super featherweight, but yeah, outside of that, man, that pretty much was the gist of what was happening there in the fight card. I know that they had, one of our I haven't had her on as a guest. I don't know why I haven't had her on as a guest yet. But Franchon Cruz discerned that, had the little incident with the Alejandra, chick that, had all those substances in her for that fight against Franchon Cruz. So she got her belts back. So that fight was declared a no contest, but she was in this card, but she wasn't part of the DAZN telecast. They actually had her fight on YouTube or something like that, which is crazy. But you have someone that's supposed to be a unified champ, but you have her on YouTube and who Franchon Cruz? Yeah, with their style, yeah. But you know what the craziest part about this thing is? Franchon Cruz is actually used fairly often in DAZN boxing telecasts. Like they use her as one of the commentators or that type of thing. But when she's fighting, like they don't. I'm like, I don't understand it, man.
To the sport, but they put all the other women on the main card or feature, but Franchon Cruz can't get a spot anywhere,
Right. Yeah.
Because man, I don't know, I don't agree.
And
but when the boxing, she one of the styles that I'm like, man, I like to watch her fight because I know she gonna bring it. She always, even in that fight with Alejandro, she was in it with a fight with a man or woman, with somebody who can't stop herself.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is like, this has been since her first fight against Clarissa Shields in 2016. Like, that and the part about it is like she's the unified champ there at super middleweight right now. And you to tell me that they can't like put her in a position to like fight a Christina Hammer or anyone else like that in the division,
Too much opportunity for upset, too much uncertainty to put her in those fights.
Yeah, man. For those that are like listening in right now, you want to talk boxing or have your thoughts on what happened past weekend, you call in 347-237-5539. But, going back to, what you're talking about with Franchon Cruz, I mean, like she could have a fight against Christina Hammer, like, right now. And that would be a unification bout there at, super middleweight. But the thing about it is like, up there in that particular weight class, like, I'm looking at BoxRec right now, and they have like their ratings or whatever it is for that division at super middleweight. Right now, they only have 22 fighters there for that particular division. That's it. So what I'm trying to figure out, how is it that they can't necessarily have, like a, Franchon Cruz going up against Christina Hammer, who's like probably the, not only the highest rated fighter there in the division, but probably the most known fighter in that division. You know what I mean? So why not go ahead and, try to make that fight happen, regardless of where, that fight could be. If you want to put your, support towards her or behind her as a promotional company, then get her in those type of fights. But I just feel like that fight that she had against Alejandra or whatever her name is, I just felt like that was a setup fight to begin with. So I don't know, man. I'll see if I can get Franchon Cruz on the show one time and see what's up. Because I just felt like that. Yeah, that just didn't look right when they initially made that fight. So this is someone in Jimenez that had came down from, I guess. Okay, check this out, right? So with Alejandra Jimenez in 2017, she was a heavyweight. Basically unlimited, over 200. Like she was. So right. So I don't know whether they sanctioned this other bout. Anyway, so she was in 2017. She was 236 pounds.
That's a big girl. Boy, big girl.
How do you go from 236 pounds to, man, in 1 year? Wait, hold up. This is crazy. So in under a year, right? Even in boxing standards, I just still can't understand this. Like she went from 236 and a half pounds in August of 2017 to 176 and a half pounds in April of 2018. That's crazy. That's some craziness right there, man. Like, I wouldn't be able to, explain anything like that, Like that's nuts. That is nuts, yo. But, yeah, that.
What did she go up to? Because of some,
So she started out at 190 pounds, and then she just got, built up to heavyweight from that. She was actually, what is it? No, she wasn't a 2-time champ. She hadn't lost. So she had been the WBC champ. No wonder she done got all of these breaks. She probably had a partnership with Suleiman or something like that. Something. But yeah, she had started out at 190 pounds and then went up to 236 and a half pounds. And then back down to 176, and then the fight against Franchon Cruz at like 164. Like that's crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's the situation there with Franchon Cruz, and you know what? Something tells me that they might try to make that fight again. They might. They just might. Hell no. Hell no. I know her husband wouldn't allow that.
She was taking some hellacious shots, and she was giving them back, even though it's like shot. The shots he was getting, non-effective, like shot, boom, 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 shot, non-effective. And she was taking shots just like her head was just rolling back, and it was just like, wow, she fighting this big girl, and I feel for her, but she competed the whole way through, but you can only give them type of performances 1 or 2 times. That can't be sustained activity. Fight somebody 200 pounds and got the muscle mass,
mm-hmm.
the bone density,
Yep.
to be able to absorb some stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's just crazy there, man. And but for that to actually be approved or whatnot, that just kind of like goes into the whole thing about how boxing can be very corrupt and stuff like that. And like for Franchon to actually accept that fight in the first place is just says a lot. But yeah, I feel like she just got set up in that one, yo. She definitely got set up in that. But that was like the action there on January 2nd. There really isn't much for the next week. I know that they have the other fight. They're on the 31st. They're between Kazuto Ioka and Kosei Tanaka, where Ioka got the stoppage victory. He basically like it was a story of the bigger guy beating the smaller guy. That was basically it. All it was is Tanaka trying to do the same thing that Kazuto Ioka did earlier, but he was just fighting Kazuto Ioka. And Tanaka is someone that he kind of like is pretty good, but he leaves himself open to a lot of shots, and that's basically what happened in this fight. He got caught with a right hand and a left hook that dropped him. And then it happened once again, and then once he was down there in the 8th round, he got hit with the left hand that made him did the funky right 2C, the stanky leg, the electric slide, the Cupid shuffle. What other tag of dances are out there? Yeah, he basically did all of those. So the ref stepped in and stopped the bout because they not going to take any more punishment. So, Kazuto Ioka ends up, getting a win there, man. And that was, mainly all the action that happened this week. Nothing really jumping off next weekend. It's like a down weekend. Actually, it's going to be a fairly down weekend for the next couple weeks. They ain't gonna have nothing jumping off until the 23rd, where oh wow, they're gonna have Rolando Romero fighting Justin Poldo. Like Ronaldo Romero's the dude that fought Jackson Marinez in August, and like a lot of people felt like Marinez won that bout, but they gave the bout to Rolly. They call him Rolly Romero. And he's there at lightweight.
He's not that good. He should not put his name in conjunction with anybody else. He's not that good. Like he's not even better than
hold on.
Shane Mosley Jr. Before Shane Mosley Jr. went on Contender. I don't think he's better than Shane Mosley Jr. before he went on Contender.
Hey.
He's not even better than him.
And the thing is like, like all of the guys that are, talked about as far as like the young contenders, whether it's, they're at lightweight or super featherweight or whatever it is, they kind of like put Rolly Romero as a stepchild. You know what I'm saying? They just rejected. They put him off to the side like he ain't nothing. And like I found it funny that like there were actually some people after the Ryan Garcia fight say that Ryan Garcia didn't talk about Rolly Romero like Romero is somebody that Ryan Garcia fears or something like that. Like dude, like
that's the fight that he's on the shoot.
From a marketable standpoint, yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. Like, there's probably some people out there that feel like they want to see Rolly Romero get beat up or something. But I don't see that as being I just don't see that fight happening though. But Rolly Romero, yeah, he's gonna be fighting in the next couple of weeks against who do they got against? Who he got fighting? Justin Poldo. Yeah, he ain't ranked. I know he ain't ranked. Something tells me he ain't ranked. Let's see, Justin Pauldo. Let me check all of the rankings there in the lightweight division. Nope, I don't see him in there. Let's see, Justin Pauldo, super featherweight. Nope, he's not in there. Uh, yo, I don't know. Maybe they'll put him in the rankings later on down the line. Who knows, man? But yo, he's gonna be in this card with the super bantamweight title on the line. Stephen Fulton against Angelo Leo. That fight was supposed to happen last year, but Fulton got sidelined for COVID-19. So Angelo Leo had a bout in the interim. He was able to get a win over Tremaine Williams to win the WBO super bantamweight title. So now he's going to be going up against Stephen Fulton, and that kind of like is a funny little division to me, because that title got vacated by Emmanuel Navarrete, who moved up to featherweight, and Mick Conlon moved down from featherweight to super bantamweight in order to maybe try to fight for that world title. And I think Al Heyman made some phone calls since they recognize the WBO now, and made some phone calls, and he made that fight initially between Leo and Fulton for the vacant title. But still, now he still has somewhere he could have his hands on the WBO title. So, that super bantamweight division is, kind of weird there to me. But I think with Stephen Fulton, he might be able to get the win on that. Other things that are going on, I feel like we're going to have a decision on what is going to happen with this thing between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I think that's going to happen within the next couple of weeks. One of the things that I kind of heard is now I finally heard from Shelly Finkel. And it ever since all this stuff about a potential rematch and Tyson Fury possibly fighting in December and all of this stuff going back and forth between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and Bob Arum, you never heard anything from Shelly Finkel. Out of all that time, never heard something from Shelly Finkel until earlier this week. And he feels like, the whole thing with the mediation still going on and that type of stuff. And I just feel like the fight may end up happening. But my reasoning behind that is more of a money and a scheduling standpoint than the whole thing about something about, this whole contract thing happening there. For one, I kind of said this earlier. I said, look, you had that fight between those two on February 22nd last year. There was a joint pay-per-view. You think that Disney is going to allow to have potential millions of dollars be kind of thrown out the window because that fight's not happening? I just don't I don't believe that they would just go ahead and let that go. I just don't believe that. Also, the other thing with Tyson Fury is he has a joint contract with ESPN and Top Rank. And it's 5 fights. I haven't seen anything in reference to an extension yet. So he has 2 fights left on that contract. Now, they could say all they want about potentially having a fight between him and Anthony Joshua, but that fight, I think that there may be more obstacles trying to make that fight or complete that fight than having something happen in between Fury and Wilder. So they want to see if they could go ahead and have that third fight first before, potentially having a fight between Fury and Joshua, because I think that there's going to be more um, logistics, more logistic problems with a Fury Joshua fight than with a Fury Wilder fight. Because if it's going to be Fury versus Joshua, 9 times out of 10, it's either going to be in the UK or it's going to be somewhere in like the Middle East or something like that. It's not going to be in the US. And I think that's another part of the contract too with Fury and Top Rank, is that he's locked down in the US as well for those fights. So I'm not sure if he could really go ahead and have a fight outside of the US, at least not yet. So yeah, I feel like Fury versus Wilder 3. I feel like it's leaning towards happening probably sometime next month. Like, what is that? February 28th or something. Nah, February 27th. I say maybe around February 27th that you'll that's when the fight is going to end up happening, and we're going to find out within the next couple of weeks. That's what I say. What's your thoughts about the whole ordeal there, Mike?
So they are still going through arbitration to see when they're going to fight, and you just pretty much said that it makes sense for them to go ahead and get this fight out of the way before they try to patronize the Joshua Tyson fight.
Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts are it'd be interesting to see how Tyson Fury fights and how the skill level becomes again when all intents and purposes tells me that it'll be a fair match, like in terms of people keeping an eye out for any type of foul play. And will his power be back to what it was? And there's 2 parts to that I would look at, because I mean, if you look at the first Deontay Wilder fight, there were times toward the end of the match, round 9 and later, where Tyson Fury did use his size, and he was kind of like bullying Wilder, which I'm almost positive they had to look at that and be like, shit, when you weren't afraid and you pressed forward, you actually was, beating the guy. Real stuff. That's exactly what was happening. But when you have a 350-pound, 360-pound man, 6'9", 6'8", who hits you with his fist with little to no pattern, it's hard to compete with that. So, I'm just interested to see how the third fight is going to turn out, where there will be scrutiny on cheating. And to see if it gets back more even. And I hope Wilder, man, I just really hope that for this next fight, for this, upcoming fight, that he get back to the basics of like jabbing, because he's exponentially a better fighter when he jabs. And when he doesn't jab, that's when he go rounds where Luis Ortiz is winning the fight, but then he just clips. Where Gerald Washington is, competitive, and people think Gerald Washington winning the fight, but he had rounds where Gerald Washington is competitive, where Luis Ortiz is winning the whole fight, and then he got to clip him at the end. I just hope he gets back to jabbing and using his feet, because how I saw him used to fight to how he fight now is just like he just normalized into being flat-footed. And he used to use his feet more. He used to use his arm fighting more. Like, look at the first Luis Ortiz fight. Like, I support Wilder on many different levels. I didn't end up watching that replay of the fight, because I mean, personally speaking, me being a fan, it's hard to watch that fight. It's real stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard for me to watch that fight. When I was watching it, I was in Italy and I was watching the fight. It was tough to watch it. it was people talking shit to me, and I was having to tell myself not to be upset because I'm like, you know, I'm used to talking shit in sports, but it's just like why be an asshole? Like why say this now? You know what I'm saying? Why me? You know, that's why I ask myself, why me? Why talk to me? You know. But you know, you gotta give credit where credit due. If it's definitely a legit win, I just hope Wilder get back to the basics, man. I hope that whoever they bring in will remind him his strength, which is his jab, which is his arm fight. You 6'7" tall, you got a 78-inch wingspan. Use your arms to keep people away from you. Use your feet to, you know, get separation. It's just like he got to use his strength, and I hope he uses strength. I just hope he gets back to the basics and use his strength because, yeah, man, he becomes that championship pedigree fighter when he uses his strength. He uses length. He uses his movement. You know, he jabs. I just really hope he get back to it. You know, like I hope also that having a crack in your skull, you know, isn't life threatening such that, you know, like he get hit one time and then all his faculties just kind of, you know, just go to shit. You know, I just hope he okay.
I think he's fine. I think he's fine with that. He wouldn't be. I don't feel like he would be cleared to, you know, compete in any capacity if there was like any serious damage towards his cranium or anything like that. But you talked about like him, I guess, getting back to basics or something to a certain extent. For me, and you pointed out like the first Ortiz fight that he had over at the Barclays Center, March 2018. You know, I attended that, and that fight to me kind of like showed how much reliant he was with his power hand. Like he didn't use his jab, but one of the things you kind of said with Wilder that he does was that he puts his left hand out or he paws with his left hand, right? So that's what he basically has been doing. He's been pawing with that left hand, pawing. Either he'll like kind of like chop it down. He'll chop down, and when he chops down, he opens up, you know, his opponent to come down the pipe with the right hand. But by doing that, he doesn't work on his jab or be more aggressive with his jab. Now, there have been spurts where he's kind of done that. There's spurts when he does that. He's jabbed to the body. Like he does jab to the body. He's done that against Tyson Fury in the two fights. He's done that. It's just that I don't know what it is. It's like he's not as confident in his hooks, like throwing the left or right hook. He's not that confident in throwing those against opponents because especially in the second fight, like the second fight, he allowed Tyson Fury to get up close, to lean on him, to wrap the arm around and that type of thing, and it ended up wearing him down. So I feel like he has to work on his inside game a lot. Because going off the second fight, if you're going to have Tyson Fury leaning on you and grabbing you and leaning on you and grabbing on you, you're going to have to do something for him to stop doing that. Like, if he's going to go inside, you're going to have to send him a message that says, all right, you want to go inside against me? This is what I got for you. Left hook to the body, right hook to the body, left uppercut, right uppercut. I'm going to go over the top. Something, you know? Because otherwise, Tyson Fury is just going to, you know, walk you down, do a lot of things, do a double step before throwing a jab, you know, that type of thing. And I feel like he got to work on that in order to, you know, have more success against Tyson Fury, because throwing a jab to the body is always a great weapon against pretty much like anybody in for one thing, if Fury stands tall, then yeah, punch to the body is going to be available to you, all day. But here's another thing, and this kind of goes to what happened yesterday, right? When Luke Campbell set up Ryan Garcia, he set him up with a jab to the body and then an overhand punch. Wilder could do that same thing. He could be successful getting to the body, and then try to do something to feint to the body and then come over the top. Boom. He could do that, and also he gotta do something about working on defense, because putting your hands up like that just doesn't work. Like, either you're gonna have to, see about, either parrying the jab or, moving your head a little bit, rolling with the punch, something. You know what I mean? Like, because him getting hit with those jabs, like, it was just, like, it just didn't look good to me, man.
And the thing about it, he put his hands up and he don't look at the jab. Like, Floyd Mayweather do a good job of keeping an eye on what's going on in every scenario, in most every scenario. Like, which is why he's able to not get caught by crazy stuff. Sometimes he get caught, but 70-80% of the time he don't get caught by Eric shots because he's looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It is. Yeah, with Floyd, it's kind of like a stance thing, and with his stance, it makes like the nanoseconds be the difference from a punch landing and a punch not landing. So with him, he kind of leans back, so to speak, and he has like his front foot, like his left foot, pretty much like way ahead of his right. So you only have like a little bit of area that you could basically hit with Floyd Mayweather. So if you're gonna like open up with the jab, he could just do a pull counter with the right, because all you have is just one side of the body to basically hit off Floyd Mayweather. And he has that distance too with his his reach advantage. Like, he had a crazy reach advantage, particularly at 135 and 140, that, a lot of those guys there in that weight class didn't have anywhere near the type of reach that compared to Floyd. But another, fighter there, like in heavyweight, was like Mike Tyson. When he had his guard, he had his high guard, but he also bobbed and weaved. And he had his hands up, but he did that from an offensive standpoint, because when he has his hands up, his jab gets through his target a little bit faster than if he had his guard a little bit down and a little bit back. So he had his guard up, bob and weave, jab, hook, and everything like that. So I feel like with Wilder, he has to do something to modify his defensive skill to, adjust to what Tyson Fury does, because Fury just gives opponents different looks with the way that he like kind of jabs and the way that he positions himself. So
yeah, I think Wilder would be most effective with a style not exactly like Larry Holmes, but using foot movement to as your defense most of the time, and jabbing and then throwing a quick 1-2 when it's time to. Knowing when to throw the hook, stuff like that, but keep it simple, jabbing 1-2, and then just using the foot movement. But that means he gotta get back out there and sprint and be able to. At one point in time, I was like, Wilder's, endurance and wind is probably one of the better ones in the division. Now, I would question if he converts into Anthony Joshua's win.
Well, in that instance, it's kind of both for Joshua and Wilder. I feel like that was didn't do the weight. Like with Joshua, when he's above like 245 plus or whatever it is, like you can't like be like that and be all bulked up. With Wilder, he's like kind of been around that 217 to 223 type of range. But against Fury in February, he was 231 pounds. Like, when has he, had that type of weight in a fight? Hardly if ever. So, while he was like kind of like, lumbering and moving basically with the footwork, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Like, he can't do that, because you're basically giving your opponent a good target, and he doesn't really have to make much of an effort to cut off the ring against you, because you're not necessarily having the energy, to move around the ring to give him a different look or to have him reset. So when you're backing up a lot and you're not moving sideways, you're basically doing the job for him. So I feel like he has to, also work on that as well. Hopefully he's not, some people kind of like feel like he's, I guess, enjoying the life, having a, increased salary or that type of thing, or increased purse, after the, first fight and after those fights. So I don't know, but we'll see here. Like I said, I feel like the third fight is going to likely end up happening by the end of February of this year. I know that some people may say that they want to see if they could wait it out to have more, potentially see if more people could attend in a venue or something like that. But I don't feel like that's going to happen anytime soon. So if you're going to go ahead and have the fight, just go ahead and have it. If you gotta have, put it in Texas, or do something with it, because I know that they had 16.5 to $17 million from the gate last year, but you're not gonna get that this time around. So I wouldn't really try to, worry about all that. Just go ahead, have this pay-per-view thing go down, put it over in Texas or whatnot, and just get it cracking.
Yeah. So one of your points, they say it's hard to what's his name? I got his face in my head. He got a circular basketball shaped head. But it's hard to get up and do 4 a.m. runs when you get out of bed in simple pajamas.
Oh, you mean not the round mound? Charles Barkley.
No. Boxer.
Oh,
Sugar Ray. I'm tripping up to get his name. I got his face in my head. Harold Hagler.
Oh,
Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, Marvin Hagler. Yeah. Yep, that's true. That is true. It's one thing when you're hungry to get that stuff, but once you do get that stuff, are you still having that same hunger? Who knows? No. And that's the thing. I have to see what would happen with the Deontay Wilder, because I feel like there's a lot of fights that he could still be involved in, regardless if he ends up fighting Tyson Fury or not. But I just think that, there's just so much. It feels like there's a lot on the line if he does fight Tyson Fury for a third time. So he got to be on the ball if he wants to be able to get off there with the win against Tyson Fury if the fight happens there. That's pretty much most of what I could, go over here in this particular podcast, man. Like I said, there really isn't anything jumping off next Sunday. So, we'll see about, getting back at it for the podcast on the 10th and see what's happening with boxing news around the nation and around the world there. But big shout out to Mike Grady for coming in here for this particular podcast. And like I said, we'll be back at it next week. Yeah, that pretty much covers it, man. So like I say at the end of every show, one of boxing is a hit, and I can hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.